Greetings, my name is Sheri, Neely, and I will be presenting on the article What to Ask the Person in the Mirror by Robert Kaplan. Robert Kaplan is a Harvard Business School professor and is well known as co-creator of the Balanced Scorecard. He's also a former vice chairman of Goldman Sachs. When an executive speaks with Kaplan looking for answers, he usually focuses instead on the executive asking himself or herself questions related to leadership challenges. I will begin by sharing these leadership challenges with you, as well as the questions directly related to these challenges. Vision and priorities. How often do I communicate a vision and key priorities to achieve that vision? Managing time. Does the way I spend my time match my key priorities? Feedback. Do I give my people timely and direct feedback they can act on? Succession planning. Have I identified potential successors? Evaluation and alignment. Am I attuned to business changes that may require shifts in how we run the company? Leading under pressure. How do I behave under pressure? Staying true to yourself. Does my leadership style reflect who I truly am? These ideas, if practiced and implemented, can potentially save careers and businesses. The first question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, how often do I communicate a vision and key priorities to achieve that vision? Kaplan encourages leaders to ask whether they articulate a clear vision, and just as importantly, whether their key employees can re-articulate this vision in a consistent manner. Leaders must have a clear vision and a set of priorities for the organization, and must ensure that their key subordinates know what those priorities are. As it relates to vision and priorities, I can recall one time in particular where my vision and priorities were unclear, and it caused a rift between my employee and I because I did not articulate my vision and priorities. Ultimately, she did not see the big picture, and I ended up doing more work, just as Kaplan stated would happen when subordinates are not aware of a clear vision. We were both frustrated until we finally sat down and met and obtained some clarity. So, after learning from that huge mistake, I made a conscious effort to make my employees aware of the company's vision and my vision as a CEO and priorities on a regular basis, which is at least weekly. This can ensure that we are always on the same page and that there are no misunderstandings about what is expected now and in the future, and where the company is now and plan to be. The employee reminds me sometimes that I have successfully articulated the vision because she shares it with me in her feedback and sometimes in random conversation. This makes me smile. The second question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, does the way I spend my time match my key priorities? If someone asks you to spend time on work that doesn't match your key priorities, the right action is probably to say no. Kaplan recommends that executives track their time for a couple of weeks and then analyze how it is being spent. If substantial time allocations do not match top priorities, he discusses how these tasks should be either delegated or eliminated. This is such a simple concept and idea, but so difficult for a lot of CEOs. He also discusses how we should let our actions and how we use our time have a positive influence on our subordinates. Because sometimes in an environment where we have subordinates around us all day, it can be easy to lose focus. Our time is our most valuable resource, and whether we like it or not, We are only going to have 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week. We cannot get the time back, so it is imperative for us to treat it as a precious resource that it is. On another note, family for me is very important. It is important for all of us in a company to have a good work-life balance because without it, what is all of our hard work really for? I used to be a workaholic, but I got wiser and older. Good work-life balance for me means a happy family and good physical and spiritual health. This is the foundation of my success. So, with that said, my takeaway is that Kaplan is simply saying work smart and not hard. The third question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, do I give people timely and direct feedback they can act on? Most good leaders understand they need to give feedback to key employees, but fewer realize the importance of asking subordinates for feedback. The more senior you are in a company, the fewer senior executives and peers are able to effectively observe and coach you. Kaplan recommends developing a network of coaching subordinates who will help executives take action to identify your own leadership issues and meaningfully improve your performance. Kaplan informs executives that what they do with the feedback from the subordinate is critical and that if they act on it, they will improve their performance. In addition, they will take a big step in building trust and laying the groundwork for a channel of honest feedback. Kaplan recommends that feedback should be implemented in advance of the year-end review, which typically arrives too late for professionals to make changes that would improve their compensation and or promotion prospects in that year. Within our company, we have an open door policy. I have an open door policy with my subordinates, and they respect the company enough to give me unsolicited feedback, and I respect them enough to ask for it. I will not have it any other way. I encourage it. I certainly want to know what the company or I can do differently or better to achieve our vision. The fourth question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, have I identified potential successors? Kaplan stresses the importance of developing potential successors for key positions within the company and creating a confidential list. Leaders who fail to train successors risk not only doing too much themselves, but also losing these valuable employees who can become frustrated that they aren't being challenged to build their skills and careers at the company. I can see the importance of developing a succession plan. My aunt talked to me in confidence about her succession plan for her company. As the CEO, she's been working closely with this individual to ensure that she trains her properly so that she can be prepared to run and grow the company just as good or better. I believe that if she had not been working closely with her and investing the time and money into her, then she could have potentially lost a valuable employee, just as Kaplan stated in his article. The fifth question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, am I attuned to business changes that may require shifts in how we run the company? The world doesn't stand still, and it's natural for companies to fall out of alignment with achievement of key objectives. Too often, leaders don't realize how off track they are until serious damage has been done to the business or the firm's reputation. He describes various approaches for reorganization with a clean sheet of paper. For example, one approach involves creating a task force of younger, emerging company leaders who were able to get great feedback and at the same time gain valuable experience. Kaplan states in an article that even the most successful business is susceptible to new challenges posed by a changing world. Effective executives regularly look at their businesses with a clean sheet of paper, seeking advice and other perspectives from people who are less emotionally invested in the business in order to determine whether key aspects of the way they run their organizations are still appropriate. I'm glad to see that Kaplan wrote this in his article. I get feedback on occasion from certain people, but I am always hesitant so I don't go too deep into this conversation. So I'm glad to see that my getting feedback on certain aspects of our business was not inappropriate. The sixth question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, how do I behave under pressure? Leaders don't always realize that their actions set an example for the people who work for them, especially if they have risen through the ranks of a company so quickly that they fail to realize their influence as role models. Kaplan discusses various approaches that leaders should take in order to connect their behaviors with the messages they want to send. He suggests that part of the process of maturing as a leader is learning to step back and think about what creates the pressure and being self-aware in these situations, and disciplining the behavior to ensure that it is consistent with core values. I have personally seen the effects of a negative behavior under pressure. As a public relations practitioner, I'm often tasked with fixing the issue that the negative behavior has caused. I've been placed in situations where I could have reacted in ways that I would have regretted because it could have potentially ruined my reputation and the reputation of my company. Also, I have a responsibility to my subordinates and as a female executive and their boss. They're watching me, and I have to be a great example and role model. Unfortunately, there is a myth that women and female executives are known for being catty and other words that I choose not to say. My goal is to dispel these myths. The seventh and final question that Kaplan would like us to consider related to leadership challenges is, does my leadership style reflect who I truly am? Kaplan discusses methods of gaining perspective and managing oneself more effectively by being true to their beliefs and opinions. Companies need their leaders to express strongly held views rather than mimic what they believe to be the party line. He recommends that leaders should not hold back on views and be too politic. He recommends that leaders should also encourage subordinates to express their unvarnished opinions, make waves as appropriate, and stop tiptoeing around issues. He states that in the end, it's not about meeting everyone else's expectations, but it's about reaching your unique potential and developing your own leadership style. In conclusion, great leaders don't have all the answers, contrary to popular belief. In fact, they can be as confused, discouraged, and unsure of themselves and their decisions as the rest of us. According to Kaplan, the difference is that great leaders can take a step back and meet whatever challenges they face by asking the right questions. They formulate these questions in a way that helps frame the key issues at the heart of the challenge. I hope this presentation has helped you just as much as it has helped me. Thank you so much for your time. And if you would like to learn more about my company, the Neely Agency, and learn more about what we do, please visit the website at www.theneelyagency.com.